do the complete works now.
That's good.
The heartwarming story. Jiraiya continued. You know,
So,
you could consider this village yours as well. Really?
okay,
How
travel
so?
around.
Well, for instance, this village is full of the people your father died protecting. His sacrifice bought them time to escape. He's highly respected here, and to know that his son is in the village following in his father's footsteps, well, that would just warm their hearts. So just know that you're always welcome here. If you ever need a place to stay, food to eat, or someone to tend your wounds, call this home base. Naruto smiled, both shocked and overjoyed. You think they'll accept me just like that? Naruto asked. Jiraiya nodded. These people have become a shining example of what humanity is supposed to be. They'll help anyone in trouble, even if they don't know them. But you they know, so why would they treat you any less? Naruto smiled, his heart warmed by the concept. I'm very grateful for their hospitality, and for yours, Jiraiya-sensei, Naruto said with a bit of a bow. It's no big deal, Naruto. I just think it's important to let you know how truly special you are, not just to the Toads, but to the rest of the world. After having a meal, they returned home to rest. As the next day came, they began their training. Jiraiya was shocked at how very little Naruto knew. It wasn't just that Naruto had no training, he had a hard time even figuring out how to train. His body was inept, lacking in muscles, and with higher body fat percentage than he probably should have. But that was fine. Everyone started somewhere, and Naruto just started pretty low. I think we're gonna need to start a training montage, Jiraiya said. The first few months were getting him up to speed to even begin real training. When Naruto had built enough strength and stamina, Jiraiya began teaching him how to utilize various ninjutsu. Some of these were harder to complete than others, but Jiraiya gave him the full 9 yards for a few years just to make sure he had what it took to survive. By the end of the training, Naruto had turned 15 and was now in good enough shape to take the fight to the Hebi Sennin. But before Jiraiya could allow Naruto to go to war, he felt that he had to test him first. Jiraiya stood there, looking at Naruto. The boy had grown, gotten stronger, and now looked like a force to be reckoned with. But despite how badass he now seemed, looks were nothing on the battlefield. Skill was where it counted, and without that, Naruto might as well fall over and die right here. I've taught you all that I possibly can, Jiraiya said. Now it's time for you to show me that you took it to heart. Naruto got ready, standing in a fighting stance. Jiraiya got low. I hope you're ready for this. Entering Sage Mode, Jiraiya dashed toward Naruto with incredible speed, using the after-image technique which confused Naruto at first. Jiraiya gripped Naruto up at the back of his collar and yanked him back, tripping him and putting him on the ground. Fight back, Naruto, Jiraiya said. This isn't a game. I'm gonna go all out here. If you can't even beat me, you'll never make it to Minato's level, and if you're not Minato's level, you won't make it past the first battle. Jiraiya kicked Naruto in the ribs, sending him rolling. Jiraiya, going down on all fours, began to use Hair Needle Senbon. Naruto saw the attack coming in. He was shocked at the speed in which it moved. The only thing he could think to do was use Earth Release to raise a wall to defend himself, which he did. The wall caught the hair needles, but while Naruto was catching his breath, Jiraiya came over the top and kicked Naruto, knocking him through the wall. Naruto landed on the other side. As much as his ribcage had been struck by kicks, he felt as though he had to have a crack somewhere. Jiraiya slowly approached from the distance. Looking back, Naruto saw Jiraiya coming like a monster in the night. Jiraiya spoke. Never leave your sight obscured for too long. You never know what your opponent's doing. What do you mean? Naruto asked. I see you do that kind of thing all the time. Jiraiya scoffed. You think sight's achieved only with the eyes? Jiraiya then proceeded to jump and kick Naruto through the tree into the next, snapping it as well. Naruto laid there and tried to catch his breath. You really aren't taking it easy on me, are you? Jiraiya stepped through the shattered wood toward Naruto. You think anyone you meet on the battlefield will take it easy on you? Everyone you meet will be relentlessly trying to kill you. There are no timeouts in a battle. There are no breaks when killing your opponent. If you want to live, you better start fighting, else you're not worth keeping around. Naruto rose to his knees and sat there for a moment, taking a few breaths. That was until Jiraiya's knee smashed into the side of Naruto's head, sending him rolling again. What did I say? No timeouts. Get up and fight or go home. Naruto, now starting to grow angry at Jiraiya, rose to his feet. I don't want to hurt you, old man. Jiraiya scoffed. As if a worthless whelp like you could handle someone like me. You're a conceited fool if you think your youth affords you any natural advantage. If you're so worried about hurting people, then leave. In the war, that's all you'll do. To me, to others, and it'll happen to you as well. There will be blood. You'll see gore, guts laying on the ground, people frantically, frivolously trying to shove them back into their bodies. And you'll be the one doing it. You'll be the one responsible. You'll be the one who has to look into their terrified eyes and finish them off. You're afraid to hurt me. Nothing you could do to me could ever hurt me worse than the snakes have. So fight with everything you've got. Try to kill me. Try to end my life, because if you don't, I'll kill you myself. Jiraiya brandished a kunai, showing that he meant business. Naruto could see it in his eyes. Jiraiya wasn't lying. Naruto, gritting his teeth and clenching his fists, let off a sigh. If that's the way you want it, that is the way I want it. Let the monster in you out. Jiraiya ran at Naruto. Deep inside of Jiraiya's head, he knew that this was the deciding moment. He was ready to punish Naruto for weakness. If you don't fight back, I'm taking your eye, Jiraiya said within his own head. This was the make or break moment. Either Naruto would rise to the occasion, or he would go home with one less eye than he had before. Getting into range, he attempted to stab Naruto. Before the kunai could even touch him though, Naruto's hand had caught Jiraiya's wrist. Jiraiya was surprised by how strong Naruto had truly become. To be able to stop not only Jiraiya's arm, but the weight of his whole body and the momentum behind it, and he did it with one hand. Jiraiya saw Naruto using Sage Mode. Is that what made the difference? Jiraiya wondered. Jiraiya himself was using Sage Mode as well, so either Naruto was physically superior or his Sage Mode was superior, perhaps both. Either way, this feat was impressive, but seeing the monster he had awakened in Naruto's eye, Jiraiya couldn't help but smile, knowing that Naruto was going to be okay. Now it was time for a little payback. Jiraiya braced himself for what he knew was coming next. Naruto's grip on Jiraiya's wrist tightened as he gave a quick jerk and a twist, breaking it. Ugh! Jiraiya rolled his eyes. He knew that one was coming. Naruto, letting out a roar, turned and threw Jiraiya into a tree before kicking him through it. Jiraiya rolled across the ground a little ways, but before he could get up, he had the sole of Naruto's boot on his face. Jiraiya laid there for a moment before tapping out. Slowly, the shoe moved from his face. Jiraiya let his Sage Mode go and offered a smile, despite the blood coming from his nose and mouth. Naruto looked down at him and let his own Sage Mode go. Jiraiya extended his good hand up, which Naruto took and brought him to his feet. It was clear by the look on Naruto's face that he was still pissed, but that was good. That's good, Naruto. That rage will keep you alive. Anger, rage, so long as it's controlled and released in proper moments, will keep you alive. Emotions like this are basically the same as willpower, the refusal to give in the face of even the worst wounds. So long as you remain conscious through rage, your chances of survival increase. Naruto, still coming down from his anger, looked. How's the wrist? Jiraiya laughed. Completely snapped. I gotta stop letting this happen to me. What do you mean? Naruto asked. Was it broken before? Jiraiya looked up with a tear in his eye, but not from pain. Yep, it was broken once before. By Minato, when I put him through the same thing. Naruto's anger finally dissipated. He realized what Jiraiya had done, and slowly Naruto started to feel bad, his expression turning from rage to realization and then to sorrow. Jiraiya put his good hand on Naruto's shoulder with a chuckle. Why so blue? You should be proud of yourself. Every soldier needs the will to survive no matter what. When two strong personalities clash, the one with more conviction tends to win. Be willing to fight with everything you've got. Be willing to sacrifice pretty much anything necessary. Fighting's a monster's game. It's for monsters. Unless you're a monster yourself, you've got no business fighting one. Aren't the monsters the ones slayed in the end? Naruto asked. Jiraiya nodded. Every monster has its day. Every monster will eventually fall by a hero's sword, but every hero eventually becomes a monster themselves. That's what war is and how it works. The only difference between true monsters and heroes is why they become monsters in the first place. That's the only thing that separates them. Never forget why you become a monster, Naruto. And when it's time to put the monster away, bury it deep with no marker and never look back. Naruto nodded. Now, help me get to the doctor. I gotta get this set. Naruto helped Jiraiya to the doctor, where the doctor began the process of resetting his wrist. This was not fun for Jiraiya by any means, but once it was in the cast, he was okay. The doctor then spoke.
You'll really need to be more careful, Jiraiya. This is the second time I've had to reset your wrist. At this rate, it's almost a guarantee that you'll have arthritis in it. 10 years and you'll probably be unable to move it.
I know, Doc. My writing's becoming harder and harder to do, he said. The doctor then spoke.
How did you even break it this time? Accidentally fall on it?
Jiraiya pointed back at Naruto, causing Naruto's face to turn a shade of pink in embarrassment. This one broke it during training. I told him to go all out, and he went all out, completely snapping it. The doctor let off a scoff of amusement.
Sounds like what happened between you and Minato all those years ago.
Jiraiya nodded. I was surprised too, but truly it's the same. And why shouldn't it be? That boy's Minato's son. The doctor's eyes widened as he looked up.
You're the child of Minato Namikaze?
Naruto nodded. Yes, sir, I am. The doctor smiled.
What's your name?
My name's Naruto.
Naruto. That's a wonderful name. It's a pleasure. You can call me Dr. Sanzu.
Naruto shook the man's hand. Pleasure's mine. As Jiraiya stood, he prepared to speak when suddenly a girl's cries could be heard. They ran outside to find that a girl was running through the streets. Help! Help, my sister! Jiraiya ran out to her, as did Naruto. What's going on? Jiraiya asked. My sister, Hinata, she's been captured. Captured? Naruto asked. The girl nodded. As we were coming back from a trip to another village, a snake sage approached and attacked us. I barely got out alive. Hinata was taken. Naruto looked at Jiraiya, who was thinking deeply about this. Why would they capture a human? They have, for the longest time, attempted to kill humans. Why take one alive now? He looked at the girl again. Miss Hanabi, can you show us on a map exactly where your sister went missing? Naruto and Jiraiya, both well-armed, set off to find the lost girl. The journey took them into the land of wind, where they found themselves in the desert. This was truly a rough place to track. As the wind blew across the loose sand, the tracks were slowly covered by the dust. Jiraiya, though, used his senjutsu to see if he could sense any unusual nature chakra readings. Finding a trail, he followed it back to its home. It was a dark cave that led down into the firmer sandstone below the dunes. Maybe I should lead us, Jiraiya-sensei, Naruto said. Jiraiya waved it off.
Disney's Mufasa the Lion King is pure joy.
Come on, Mufasa, let's get in some trouble.
Experience the movie that is being called hilarious and visually stunning.
That looks good. You could not improve on it.
It's the perfect family Christmas movie.
I've got one good arm. It's all I need. As they went deeper into the cave, they were ready. No matter what, they were going to get this girl back. This is a really big cave, Naruto whispered. Jiraiya nodded. It is indeed, but regardless, we can't split up. We don't know how many enemies could be in here. As they continued to walk, they found themselves entering a room with cages in it. At the end, there was a single cage closed with a light on above it. Within the cage was a young girl, no older than Naruto. They rushed over to the cage and began to pick the lock, startling the girl at first until she recognized Jiraiya. She came to the bars. Master Jiraiya, please help me, she said. Jiraiya raised his finger to his lips to tell her to be quiet. Damn it, it's impossible to do this with one hand. Jiraiya moved one of the tools into position against the pin and then stuck into it with his teeth. He then used his only good hand to work the other tool against the pins. Once he was sure he had them all, he twisted the key, opening the door. The girl came out and hugged Jiraiya. It's horrible. They had other prisoners and one by one they took them away. There were others here. What happened to them? Hinata was shaking in his arms. Can you tell us what happened? Naruto asked. The people who were here. They got turned into some kind of mindless monster. What do you mean? Jiraiya asked. Hinata spoke. They said it was forcing a transformation through sage energy. A sage transformation? Jiraiya questioned. What's that? Naruto asked. Jiraiya shook his head. I'm not entirely sure. Sage mode is only supposed to make you stronger. It shouldn't completely transform your body unless it's an unbalanced usage. I don't know how it works, she said. This is just going off of what I heard. Who did you hear it from? Jiraiya asked. A snake sage. He was large, terrifying. I saw his face and it was vaguely human, and his body was made up of hundreds or thousands of smaller snakes. Who is she talking about, Jiraiya-sensei? Naruto asked. Jiraiya thought about it for a moment, his face showing concern. She's talking about Orochimaru. Who's that? Naruto asked. Orochimaru was once a human, Jiraiya said. He betrayed the village 12 years ago, leading to its destruction. Because of his betrayal of humanity, the snake sages accepted him as a bit of a pet. He's a plaything for them, an attempt to see how far they can push a human before they lose their mind. It seems Orochimaru has finally lost his. And now he's doing the same to others. But how? Why? Jiraiya looked around. Have you seen any other humans around here? He asked. Hinata shook her head. Jiraiya helped her up. Then let's get out of here. As they began to make their way out, they found themselves blocked off. Before them was a rather large grouping of humans, or what once were humans. These creatures had human shapes, but their appearances were unnatural, or at least unnatural to their species. Sensing the nature energy emanating from them, Jiraiya knew they were nothing but natural. It was a strange conundrum, but then again, the Dark Master behind them was himself the center of the conundrum of a human who tried to become what he was not, a snake. What have you done, Orochimaru? Jiraiya asked. I simply did what the Masters desired. An army, easily controlled, turned into a powerful weapon, easily disposed of. If the Gamma Sennin can use humans as their tools, why not the Hebi too? The Toads don't use humans, they fight with them. One man's treasure's another man's trash, I suppose. But all the same, here we are. And now that the already superior snakes have taken away the Toad's only advantage, this war will finally draw to a close. Orochimaru slowly slithered back. Kill them. The sage transformed humans began to chase them. Naruto and Jiraiya turned back and began to run. As they did, Naruto took up the rear, ready to defend them. Given that Hinata wasn't as fast as them, she slowed the group down, which allowed the enemy to catch up. As they attacked, these creatures seemed to be able to mold their skin into whatever they desired. Some even grew faster as chakra-based jets appeared on their back, rocketing them along. Those that were already close enough turned their hands into fists propelled by chakra rockets in an attempt to strike down Naruto. But Naruto would form a Rasengan in his hand and smash it into the fist of one of the monsters. It completely blew off the monster's hand, but that barely slowed it down. It began to regenerate. Some formed their arms into massive drills, hoping to tear a hole through their adversaries. The sheer adaptability of these creatures was beyond anything Jiraiya had ever seen. That, mixed with the overwhelming power their sage energy granted them, proved to be more than enough to surpass anything even a sage-trained human could be capable of. The only benefits basic sage humans had over these things was sanity and intellect, as these things seemed to lack anything beyond instinct. As they ran, they reached a point where they could not go any further. The sandstone cut them off. It was a dead end. Their dead end. Jiraiya pushed Hinata behind him. "Naruto, any ideas?" Jiraiya asked. Naruto thought about it. "I've got one, but it's not very good." "Do you have a good singing voice?" Naruto asked. Jiraiya began to understand. Jiraiya began to unbalance his sage mode a bit more to cause his body to take on the shape of a toad. Naruto also transformed this way. They then proceeded to utilize demonic illusion toad confrontation chant to cast the incoming monsters under genjutsu. When they were under, they transformed back into humans and grabbed one of the monsters and dragged them over to them. They used its drills and chakra rockets to get them through the sandstone to the surface. Discarding the monster in the desert, they fled back to the village. Naruto and Jiraiya returned home. Naruto kept Hinata warm through the cold desert night air, something she deeply appreciated. Once they returned, he reunited her with her sister and parents. All the while, Jiraiya traveled back to Mount Myoboku to inform Gamamaru about what he had discovered. As he entered the Great Toad Sage's court, the sage greeted him. "Welcome back, Jiraiya. It's been a few years, hasn't it? How's Naruto's training coming along?" "He's actually finished. Just recently. He's become very strong and resourceful," Jiraiya said. It was then that Gamamaru noticed Jiraiya's wrist. Jiraiya, noticing the gaze the old Toad Sage was giving his hand, spoke. "You should be proud. Naruto is proving to be every bit as strong as Minato." Gamabunta smiled at the idea of how strong Naruto had become. "I will have to tell Shima and Fukasaku. They'll love to hear from him." "It's been a while since his last letter." Jiraiya nodded. "Naruto's been busy, but I'll be sure to tell him to write another when I get back." As they stood there, Jiraiya's expression seemed to darken. Gamamaru then spoke. "I sense that your return isn't only to deliver good news, is it?" Jiraiya shook his head. "No, it's not, I'm afraid to admit." "What's going on?" Jiraiya would then begin to explain everything that he and Naruto had been through. "We received word that one of the villagers from New Konoha had been captured by the Snake Sages in the Land of Wind. We went to investigate, and when we got there, we found the secret base."
Behold!
Disney Plus, Hulu, and Max.
This is so cool.
It's just the beginning.
The ultimate bundle for an unbelievable price.
We've never seen a force like this.
Let's go. Let's go. I am back, baby.
All the best entertainment.
It's everything you need. Spionen.
Entering inside, we found the girl and freed her, but as we left, we came to realize what was going on. Orochimaru has been turned into a snake sage himself, so much so that he's hardly recognizable. He's actually taken on the form of a snake. A snake? How is that possible? Gamamaru asked. I can't be certain, but whatever it is, the snake sages have learned how to completely ruin a person. They turned Orochimaru into a weapon, and Orochimaru's own intellect has passed that on. We discovered that he's been experimenting on humans for the Hebi in an attempt to make them fit weapons for war, and he succeeded. No human is as physically capable as these. I've taken to calling them Bakemono. These Bakemono are capable of changing their body as they see fit into weapons, as well as even chakra cannons and the like. If this war drags on much longer, they're going to amass an army we can't overcome. Gamamaru nodded, but his smile didn't fade. This piqued the curiosity of Jiraiya, who then spoke. Why aren't you afraid? Gamamaru then spoke. Gamabunta's been carving a line into Hebi territory. He's about ready to push into Ryuchi Cave. And the best part is, the Hebi have no clue that he's there. He's ready to reverse summon you and Naruto to his location. As soon as your wrist is healed, let him know and he'll take you there. Jiraiya was amazed. Could it be possible? Was this finally the end of the war? He couldn't help but smile. It might have been too late for those humans who were transformed by Orochimaru, but it was not yet too late for humanity as a whole, and they were about to prove it. And that's where I'm gonna stop for the day. The idea for the Bakemono was originally derived from one of the coolest characters in Naruto, that being Jugo. Jugo's Sage transformation is without a doubt one of the coolest forms in the series. The moment I saw it in action against the Raikage during the 5 Kage summit, I was drooling. Those chakra cannons he formed, man. I thought that maybe in a way I could reconceptualize the Jugo clan this way and turn them into weapons created by the Snake Sages to destroy the Toads. But what do you think about the story so far? Do you
If I asked you which Bay from the Metal Saga is the strongest, you'd probably answer with either Diablo Nemesis, Big Bang Pegasus, or El Drago Destructor. But what if I told you guys there's a Beyblade out there in the Metal Fight story that dwarfs even them at their most powerful, including both the Crash Out Demon Nemesis and the Spirit Bomb Pegasus from the Metal Fury manga. This forgotten Beyblade was a true primordial force of nature. Bladers, allow me to introduce you to Pegasus Omega. No, not that Omega Pegasus, this Pegasus Omega. Pegasus Omega was a in-game exclusive Beyblade that debuted as an unlockable Beyblade in the Metal Fight Beyblade DS game in 2009. In this awesome DS game, you play as Jinga following the narrative, battling mob characters and nostalgic bladers alike, like Kenta, Benkei and Ryuga, with the ultimate boss of the game being Kafu with his pre-hybrid Quetzalcoatl. Now this bay was downright demonic, but we'll cover that in a future episode. Like the original Pegasus Metal Wheel, Pegasus Omega also featured 3 sloped upper blades. Now I know you guys are looking at this metal wheel thinking something's off. It looks like Pegasus, but not really. So if you guessed that the Pegasus Omega wheel is inverted, you're absolutely correct. It's inverted because Pegasus Omega is left spin. That's right Bladers, this forgotten Pegasus Beyblade was a left rotating bay. Pegasus Omega also features a black metal coat with orange stickers matching the orange of the Pegasus facebolt. This design is so clean, if only we had a HD render of it. Despite all of this though, I know a lot of you guys are watching this video thinking this is cool and all, but what makes this Beyblade specifically more powerful than the God of Destruction itself? Well then, Bladers, let's talk about it. In the Metal Fight Beyblade DS game, Beyblades had special moves which were for the most part within the range of what we saw in both the Beyblade anime and manga. So here's the original Pegasus 105 flat special move.